All right, good morning. We are resuming with the third episode of the saga of the Vrinn Empire, aka Space Dwarves. They are a mechanist society focused primarily on technology and building robots, which is my theory of how space dwarves would function with machine-style cities based on the basic fantasy Tolkien-esque lore. We're also an efficient bureaucracy with Byzantine bureaucracy, with the idea that we're going to try to expand our administrative capacity in addition to support the prop growth that we get from both robots and Vrinn, to try to expand as much as possible, which is what we have been doing here in the early game. Other than that, we have a supercontinent world as our primary homeworld and 55 pops currently across 4 total inhabited colonies. We have Wadriax 1, which is primarily a mining colony so far because we have high quality minerals available there, which bumps the output of our miners on there, as well as potentially some future benefit doing Valdamote production. They did have an event that gave them a xenophilic immigration pull. We have With Really Prime, which is right now primarily interested in energy production. It also will be useful if we spawn some alloys production or engineering research there because of the buffs we have from the spaceship graveyard. It also builds rather slow because of unusual formations. We have Rodriax Prime, which is our 3rd colony. And it hasn't really defined itself as a role. We're trying to keep our energy production up with it. It has predatory plants, which hurt the habitability a bit, and subterranean ecosystems, as well as it's a poor mining quality system. So we have few mining districts, and our production is also diminished. So we'll try to focus on other planets if we can. And then we have Vrinn Prime, which is the capital. Has a growing population. On all 3 worlds, we are both growing pops and assembling robots in order to try to expand our population and capability as quick as possible. We're currently in the process of building an energy grid. We are having some trickiness with our consumer goods production and our food production, which are both diminishing. The supercontinent world has some food bonuses, which we may try to resolve that food issue with. And we also have a scientist in a science ship assisting in research. We have our governor, and our governor is long-lived and is also an intellectual, so he's buffing science as well. During the early technology growth, we chose to go with a lot of buffs on across the board in terms of our different technology types, in the interest of trying to gain a technological advantage over our potential neighbors. In the last episode, we just started to run into neighbors through an event. We found the Zelvin Corporate Holdings, who I believe are a megacorp and similar ethics to us. They're authoritarians, but they're also xenophilic and pacifistic, and they've been friendly thus far and established an embassy with us. And we're running into a second society, whom we haven't identified but are also receptive at the moment, and I assume have an empire somewhere in this direction. We've also been focusing on expansion, trying to close off as many of the choke points into our home systems as possible, which was how we ran into the currently what we refer to as the Zeta aliens and Dradim. very likely we're going to try to either advance a bit, depending upon where we start running into Zeta population, to a choke point that we can control, and then we'll likely throw up a star base in order to try to control for the entrances into where our home systems may lie. We've left behind some of the more dead-ended systems for later production and have been really just following our science ships as they survey across. We have Discovery fully fitted in terms of traditions, and also have some prosperity traditions already taken, mainly with the focus on output and keeping down costs. And we're starting to strain our empire sprawl. We're getting closer. We're managing some of the bureaucratic jobs on the colonies to keep that high enough. So right now, just balancing the economy primarily, as well as moving forward. We have one fleet, and that is located in the Vrinn Prime system. We're also going to build that out to be able to fulfill both its fleet command capacity and the naval capacity, which currently match, in order to have some capability to defend ourselves if we start running into other empires who are unfriendly. There's a precursor event chain ongoing here where we discovered the Charchorions and have 3 remaining spots to research, but in theory they are a precursor race who enslaved our ancestors, and there is more to discover, but we are going to hold off on that until we get through trying to secure entries into the home systems. It could be possible that this is a means to also enter, which we'll have to evaluate. We might want to get a science ship over there to see, but beyond that, that's a decent summary of where we stand, and we're going to get started again. We're also working on now acquiring production around some of our trade goods, and we have volatile moots and exotic gases currently in production, and we're researching the ability to take advantage of some of the crystals that we also have access to on our currently owned systems. We are low on influence, but will shortly try to capture Wio, and both for its capacity to provide us with some mineral production and power, and also that it represents a single choke point into the home systems we have. So I'm going to go ahead and just purchase a bit more consumer goods. I think the theory is going to be that population will get us there, because we need another artisan. Essentially, that one artisan will supply us with enough consumer goods to stop the negative drop. And we also have a free bureaucrat job. And we'll likely build at least one more civilian industry on one of our colonies to further support our consumer goods. Mainly just to try to keep them from crashing. We could likely buy what we need once we acquire additional goods for populating, say, new systems that we might find with habitable planets. So we're moving a science ship out to Tua in order to just try to figure out where the Zeta aliens start. Alright, so we have receiving a transmission from the Independent Space Station of the Curator Order. They appear to have successfully translated our language. High Curator Torba Villin. Greetings, Star Travelers. We are the Curators. Our ancient order was established eons ago by the various galactic powers in ascendancy at the time. We were dedicated towards the preservation of all knowledge, in an effort to safeguard the galaxy from descending into yet another dark age of mass extinctions and barbarism. We failed. Few of us remain today, but we are no less committed to our sacred mission than our predecessors were. We are willing to share some of our knowledge with you for a price. Well met. Doesn't show us their location. Assuming they have systems nearby. Is that them? That was a wormhole that we discovered. So we completed our last physics research. I don't think we need anything more here than upgrading our point defense. We have several models of both corvettes, destroyers, two of which are the picket versions, which are using point defense, and I think that would be the next upgrade that we could use. Right, we're worried about running out of consumer goods. We will try to resolve that. We can build an outpost. We're still expanding there. We're going to be covering mining stations there for a bit. But we'll take Wiyu as the next system of expansion. Ocean world is not particularly friendly to the Vrinn, but over time this may improve enough that we can colonize it once we get some technology buffs. Thick rivers of dense hydrogen gas can be seen flowing over the surface of Trista 4, an unusual combination of low atmospheric pressure and static attraction from the world's surface rocks produce these elegant, slow-moving rivers of dense hydrogen gas. We'll add 2 energy to Trista 4. So here, we are also trying to determine which direction potentially we would want to occupy to cut off entries. We'll take a look here, try to see how many of these are dead ends, and what we may want to capture. So our efforts to decipher the signals picked up from the Zeta aliens have paid off, and we have finally made a breakthrough. While our mastery of their language may not be complete, we have managed to successfully open diplomatic channels with the civilization we now know to be the Holy Vrinn Covenant. Interesting.
A foreign power is hailing us.
Alright. We may just have to hit them with trademark infringement for their species name. So, well met, alien. I represent the Holy Vrinn Covenant, led by the illustrious matriarch Anar del Ulto. We rule our region of space under a divine mandate, and so long as you do not interfere in our spiritual affairs, we look forward to learning more about your culture. They are fanatic xenophile and spiritualists. I think we're going to be positive towards them since they approaches us positively, and perhaps we can set up trade. The news that we have encountered intelligent alien life for the first time has been received with mixed feelings by our populace. This confirms that what we had long suspected, that we are not alone in this galaxy. Each new alien species we encounter represents both an opportunity and a threat. We must be wary. These particular Xenos have a level of technology similar to our own, indicating that we have achieved spaceflight at roughly the same time. So we're going to take a look at our contacts and
Construction complete.
I'm going to assign one of our envoys to establish a spy network with the Vrinn Covenant and determine what level of advancement they are at. And it does look like they were in the direction that we supposed. It's possible that they can get up through this direction, so we'll want to get a Grore at minimum. I think Tua as well, which might cause some border static between ourselves and them. I think we're going to try to find out about the Zelvin corporate holdings as well. For now, we have received our first clandestine report from Spymaster Vashnow Ilgden inside the Holy Vrinn Covenant. This heralds the foundation of our first spy network within a Xeno Empire. From this day forward, they too will realize the formative benefits of Vrinn-honed information control. To get mining stations and a research station going in Wheel.
Anomaly found.
Bastra, which we'll leave be until we finish surveying the system. So now Wadriax has finished its city district, and we have the option to add another building. We have 2 specialist roles already to fulfill. I feel like we should focus on curing our consumer goods problem so that we can cease to be nagged by it. And we're going to go ahead and add civilian industries. We have 4 jobs available on Withrilly and Wadriax, but we also have some specialist jobs restricted. And we're building an energy grid and almost done on Vrinn. I think we're going to continue the expansion of mining on Wadriax 1. Although our mineral production is exceedingly high. And on Withrilly, we will buff our energy production. Although we do have the debuff of it being a principality.
Receiving communications.
The Holy Vrinn of a Covenant is offering to establish an embassy. We aim to establish an embassy on Vrinn for the future benefit of Vrinn diplomacy. We'll agree. Keeping a positive attitude. We look at our contacts. The Holy Vrinn Covenant is nearly positive, and the Zelvon corporate holdings are positive. I don't think we can see if we can make a trade. Interesting to know if they have awareness of other empires. think we have more than enough volatile motes to give them. Probably give them a couple, and seems like it'll make. I could really use an option to just set it to the value that gives me one move of possibility. Let's do the same here to see if we can also discover whom they may know.
Technology secured.
Alright, so now we have the ability to mine crystal mines, and most of the options coming up are to improve our military, which is not a bad idea now that we have neighbors. I think we are either going to do coil guns or upgrade our armor further. We're already at level 2 armor. We could really use shields, but that's more physics. I think we're going to improve our coil guns so that we can mix and match the weaponry
Construction complete.
that our fleets use. That would be in Yelbastra. So we just completed upgrading our 3 current star bases to starholds, opening up a couple new slots on each. And we should look to see how we can take advantage of that. I think for the further reaches, we would want to make sure that we have crew quarters on Woodreax, because it currently has the off-world trading company. And that will give us the ability to station some ships there for reduced overhead. I think we're going to add an off-road world trading company to Withrili in order to bump the trade value a bit. And I think we will do the same Prime. Mainly focusing on income. So they expanded to Tua before we'd had the opportunity to. We're going to back out of their system. And we are going to start building a station to defend the border in Dradim. We likely should also get over to Igrore and capture it. I think that may be more important than mining stations for the moment. Also, internally, we now can mine our rare crystals, but we don't have a construction ship spare. This guy is building, but he'd be a bit far out to circle back. He could probably cover most of this, but that'll also limit our... I think it's just time to build another construction ship. And I think we'll do so in Vrinn, that's fine.
Yes, in Nick.
We received communications from the Holy Vrinn Covenant, and it's likely why they wanted to give it to us. It doesn't look like it exposed anybody else on the map. Let's see. Yep. Can't hurt us for trying.
Anomaly found.
Leave that be. A couple anomalies in Yelbarasta. Zelvine Corporate Holdings also grants us their communications. It cost us 31 volatile motes in addition. A particularly observant operative in Zelvine Corporate Holdings has laid their hands on part of a Zelvine encryption key. It would seem a careless Zelvine administrator mislaid the device while commuting. This bodes well enough for our operations in the Zelvine Corporate Holdings, but our study of the device's unique design has revealed novel insights for our general approach to code breaking. Get a code breaking modifier.
Star system charted.
Talent infiltration. So we finished in Yale Barista. I want to go on the research project first. And then we're a level 5 scientist, so these anomalies should be fairly quick to research. So now we have a new construction ship. We're going to go build mining stations on, I think, all of the deposits. That will just be there, in there. That'll be covered by the ship that's in the system. So they have yet to close their borders, nor have we. But we're going to keep an eye on whether or not that is something that should occur. Mainly, we wouldn't want them slipping past and
Special project
establish
complete.
anything nearby. Submerged beneath the water, our science team uncovered the ruins of a self-contained ecosystem. It appears to have been produced entirely from spaceship components. Beshna Tukar estimates that several hundred individuals lived here until it was struck by an orbital bombardment. Most of the equipment was damaged by salt water, but our science team managed to recover fragmented navigational data, which should prove useful. Strangely, both munitions stored in the complex itself and intact projectiles recovered on site use similar designs. That was the precursor slaver, I think is probably more appropriate event from Yale Barista. And then the ISS Ekplar will reveal a couple more anomalies, and then we'll start moving to finish that event chain and find out what there is to know. Entities is starting to impact us on Vrinn. We only have one and then potentially two more upgradable.
Technology secured.
So we hit bottom on consumer goods. We're going to buff 150, which should be fine for now. And hopefully population growth will get the jobs that we have necessary, producing enough. We've retreated our science ship out to our border. Though I suppose we could have explored theirs. But we're going to go ahead and survey into this area between us, which looks like it should be at least somewhat unclaimed by the Holy Vrinn Covenant. Through our surveys of habitable worlds, our biologists have collected a vast amount of data on alien life forms. Many of our older theories on the development of life have been disproved, and our scientific community has had to build new models from scratch. Our most interesting findings are being displayed in the newly dedicated Museum of Exobiology on Vrinn. The public is enthralled, and many donations have come in to aid the continued search for strange life forms. Nice buff of society research gained. That should have been because we were able to scan and survey these 2 habitable planets in Tvlik 8. Tvlik 8. There we go. And that likely finished our society research. So we have several options. Starbase capital seems attractive. Planetary capital. Would also help with our amenities on Vrinn. And I think is probably the preferred route here. With Really Prime has reached 10 population, we can upgrade our ship shelter into a planetary administration. Our examination of abandoned cities on Yelbarasta 3 has revealed yet another mystery. Rather than finding evidence of millions of bodies, Science Officer Beshna Tukor has settled on the conclusion that this planet was abandoned. Vast, hastily created mass transportation systems snake across the landscape, and instructions on the walls of several major cities directing citizens to evacuate have been uncovered. What happened next is still unclear, with no discernible evidence of the space program. The only other possible explanation lies in the strange archway structures erected at the center of these transportation networks. Not representative of any known method of interspatial travel, these devices have nearly disintegrated from centuries of exposure to this corrosive atmosphere. We may never know how these arches function, but seeing what is possible has opened our eyes. 3 physics research on Barrister 3. Going to go ahead and queue up the upgrade to our planetary administration.
Technology secured.
So our point defense guns can now be improved. I think upping our speed and our ability to respond with Hyperdrive 2 is likely another good choice. We're still underway, except for in Wadriax. In Wadriax, we have a shipyard and a trade hub. I think we are going to up our naval capacity with anchorage. Zelvan Corporate Holdings wants to get to know us. Noble Sphinxes, we wish to propose a cultural exchange with you to encourage friendship between our peoples. If you accept, we will send a group of Zelvan to the Vrinn Imperium, where they will spend several months among the Vrinn. In return, we will host a similar group of Vrinn. We hope that by doing this, we will be able to understand your people better and herald in a new era of friendship between our nations. So, they probably want to try to convert us, in all likelihood. We can accept it and increase our opinion by 20 in both directions. We can decrease it by 20 by telling them no, or we can lie and try to learn as much as possible about them, but they will be angered if we are discovered. Or we can attempt to take their message hostage. I think we're going to try to get more intelligence value on them via that event and risk it not working out for the better. Beshna Tukar's team has discovered a vast and perfectly smooth pyramid that is emanating the dazzling color-changing light on Yel Barrister 5. Despite finding the source, the team is unable to determine how the pyramid got there, how it is creating the light, and how long it has remained there. They are requesting funding for a special project to drill through the ice and directly access the pyramid. Incredible.
Situation log updated.
Yet another research project. That was the last anomaly, so we'll go ahead and follow up on the research.
Construction complete.
Okay, we'll go ahead and build the research station here, go back and build the mining and research stations in Dratum. Our science ship should be heading out to kind of figure out what's going on with this dead zone between the two empires. Now we have coil guns, and the next option I think could be subspace speed and ion thrusters. Let's take a look at our ship designers. We are still running level 2 lasers. We now have level 2 picket and a small coil gun on the interceptor vets. Gunships are running all lasers. Artillery are still laser based, and our picket destroyers are laser and point defense based. We should have some upgrades available to apply. I think mostly the coil gun and point defense changes onto our fleet. And next we're going to make our fleets a bit faster. Let those upgrades go through. So they are inferior now
Construction
technologically.
complete.
They are
Construction
equivalent
complete.
in terms of economic power. The Zelvan delegation arrived today to a rapturous applause. Vrinn
Vessels
lined the street
upgraded.
to greet the new aliens, and billions upon billions watched their arrival on the news channels. Our own delegation reports that it has arrived to a similar reception. Optimism is high that the mission will be a success. It should be easy to find out all their secrets. So if we improve, they have pathetic technology and a pathetic economy.
Star system charted.
So it's also possible we could get an approach from essentially the south. The Vrinn. We're going to survey down in this direction and see what we can determine. Quadriax has the ability to also upgrade their ship shelter to a planetary administration. So we have gotten the population up.
Anomaly
We
found.
have now improved our consumer goods production to the positive. Food production is still a little low, but we have plenty. We leave be anomalies as we find them until we finish. We should be researching the planetary capital. Alright, so starbase wise, we're gonna add anchorages to Vrinn Prime and Bethrilli to push up
complete.
our ability to field more ships. We have hit our administrative capacity, but we should probably have a few free bureaucratic jobs. I think if we sacrifice our medical worker here for the moment, although in 7 months we'll have another one. We're using all of our bureaucracy jobs. We don't have offices there. Probably want to get offices on Wadriax, which would require another building district, which we're gonna do. Just adding a city. And then back to Wadriax population. We lower our medical workers. We get the extra bureaucrat, which gives us the extra ability to expand. And with additional population, we'll try to bring back some of those other jobs.
Construction complete.
We also finished the star base, and we're going to add a shipyard. And an anchorage along with the crew quarters to start giving us the ability to project force,
Special project complete.
etc. The moment the mining team led by Beshna Tukor reached the pyramid, it glowed in a brilliant shade of red. Against Beshna Tukor's hurried orders, one of the miners placed his clutching appendage upon the pyramid, at which point it suddenly disappeared. To their dismay, a group of crystalline entities appeared in orbit around the planet just moments after the pyramid had vanished. That can't be good. We have now made first contact with mysterious aliens in Yel Barrister system. For now, we have codenamed them the Kappa aliens until we can find more about them. If they possess a language, we must decipher in order to establish communication.
Recon research vessel under attack.
And not sure if we're going to be able to emergency FTL before they wipe out Beshna Tukor. That's unfortunate. Yep. So he has been tossed into emergency FTL, missing in action. We'll be back in 2 months. Could have been worse. Also going to build mining stations for the crystal. We now have some rare crystal production. We don't have a free envoy, and I'd rather find the competition than the crystals. I think now that we are expanding our capacity to project force, that we're going to add, let's see what our damage looks like. Picket ships with that latest upgrade are towards our most damaging. We're going to add artillery destroyers to the 1st Expeditionary Fleet. Alright, the ISS Ekaplar has returned. And we're going to check out Devil's Maw. Survey that system. It appeared that these were about 1,000 strength. And our fleet is currently about 2,000. With those ships complete, I think we're going to go and wipe them out. Espionage update. Our agents among the delegation to Zelvon Corporate Holdings have managed to send home another cache of Zelvon technologies for our scientists to work on. The Zelvon still suspect nothing of our operations. One of 3 options will get 500 of one of the researches. Nice. And next choice here, I think that adding a building slot seems the most potentially valuable to support continued growth. Now that we have access to the planetary capital and we have the money to do so, we're going to
construction complete.
Finishing at Aubrium and moving to secure at least Tystra. Gonna take Kazarit.
Technology secured.
We have now established the hyperdrive, taking a look at the ship designers. We still have fairly adequate power, so we don't need to go for the cold fusion reactor. What reactor are we running? The fusion reactor. I think speeding up our surveys might help in terms of a land grab against these folks locally. Military fleet now has the option to add hyperdrives across all of the ships besides our Raider class ships we found.
Anomaly found.
Production still is our primary challenge, but we have more than enough to ignore it for a bit. We should have 1 slot free on each of our star holds. Further buffing our naval capacity makes the most sense. Maybe we'll replace that out later when we have other options for that type of expansion and need something else. Deep within the atmosphere, the gas giant Esteron 1 in the Esteron system rage extremely long-lasting tornadoes. These massive vortexes move in the other direction the planet is spinning at roughly the same speed, making them look like they never move. On top of that, the science ship ISS Unplar has so far never seen a vortex like this disappear. It seems like they last forever, too. Intriguing. And we get 2 physics research, or we can spend some influence, which we have some overhead right now, to improve that to 3 physics, 4 physics total with the away team, and 2 society. We're going to go ahead and take that, because in all likelihood we want to try to capture
Technology
that
secured.
a choke point into our systems. We now have access to
Star
ion
system
thrusters.
charted.
So our droid workers, I think it would be useful, since we have a fair number of droids in our population, to allow them to take on specialist jobs. We have more than enough mineral production, and we probably don't need level 3 railguns just yet. We do have unemployment now of 1 robot on Watery Axe Prime. Let's just double check. We are restricting technology jobs there, which we're going to remove to give them a little bit more energy. We need to get our amenities up, but that should happen with the Planetary Administration building to a degree. Science ship has finished in Pennock. We're going to leave behind, let's see, you're level 5. How many anomalies are here? There's a decent amount to survey. I'm more interested in what's going on between our 2 empires here. So we're going to continue to survey that border region. So interestingly, let's see. Alright, now across the board, I think they're not upgrading all of them just yet. Possibly because they were under upgrades already. Quite a few more inhabited colonies than we do, so their economy, in theory, should outpace us, and their fleet power might be larger. We have located what we believe could be an ancient subspace gateway near the Devil's Maw. It appears to have been a part of a galaxy-wide network of similar stations, which, when operational, allowed for near-instantaneous travel from one part of the galaxy to another. At some point, after its initial construction, its connection to the rest of the network was severed. It now offers only one valid destination, an uncharted group of stars just beyond our galaxy that astronomers have designated the L Cluster. Even more intriguing, the gateway was built entirely by microscopic nanites of unknown design. Although the gateway emits a faint power signature, it has been deliberately locked into some kind of maintenance loop that prevents its activation. Until we find some way of aborting this process, the L Cluster will remain beyond our reach.
Situation log updated. Construction complete.
Our respective delegations have spent some time building rapport with their hosts. Initial differences between our species have been smoothed over, and the Zelvon have no idea that we have been using this mission as a screen to spy on them, and are coming to trust us. This will only make it easier for us to learn their secrets. Excellent. Go ahead and capture that energy production.
Technology secured.
Bump to survey speeding is complete. That was rather fast. I think because most of our ships are running lasers, that bumping lasers would be logical.
Construction complete.
We have finished expansion to Wii really have limited options. I think we're going to follow the science ship towards Devil's Maw. And we likely should get another science ship working towards the center of the galaxy here to start uncovering more of what we have going on. We have a level 2 scientist helping us. I think what we'll do is with Really, we'll add a new science ship and have a look at what we have options-wise for... I think we'll take this anomaly researcher so that we're ready to do the same as we find them.
Construction complete.
Our naval capacity
Vessels upgraded.
78. So we got our first upgrade underway, but that didn't include, I believe, the thruster upgrades, which will cost us another 126 alloys, which feels acceptable. Now Wadriax has a new building slot along with its planetary administration. Our stability is quite low. Why would be the thing. Don't really have crime. We're not overcrowded. It seems odd. Where the stability calculation there works out to 78%, but it's showing up as 39%. I give that a chance to possibly smooth out and see where we land. Perhaps because we're over Empire Strawl, but that shouldn't really affect it. It's not doing much of anything. Gonna let that even out a little bit. Just decide which direction to take it after we see if it settles down. We completed our starbase expansions. Upgrading our expeditionary fleet again. After which I think we're going to go take out these Kappa alien in that nearby system. Yelbarista.
Star system charted. Construction complete.
Devil's Maw is now finished, and we're going to survey this G-class star. On this side of the systems, we're gonna move into Tystra and build our next outpost.
Star system charted.
So it looks like these systems likely cut off before they join up with the Vrinn down here, which is a positive. Quite possibly this becomes an important choke point. It's getting a little hard to figure out how we would control it. Potentially if we have these two systems though, we should be decently covered. I'm going to move one more system southernly in order to determine there's no route to this system. That's interesting. Certainly looks like there's a route. That's just me looking at this in the wrong way. Doesn't seem to be. But we'll let the game tell us what to do. Let's have the opportunity to build on wad reacts. Let's see if... Yeah, there we go. Our stability fell back into place. So we have the ability to add new buildings to both of our Wadriax colonies. Also almost out of district space on Wadriax 1. I think what could become important here is alloy production. And is going to be the direction that we take it, so that we can build more ships and fill out our new naval capacity. Actually, with the new planetary administration, we also have not hurting for alloys, so I'm going to belay that order, and we are going to go with research labs to further extend our technology advantage over the Vrinn as it stands now.
Vessels upgraded.
We do need to figure out how to get this job staffed. I think if we reduce our needs for the enforcer, which I don't think we really have any crime to put down that isn't covered by our governor. That should give us a bureaucrat and push us back over
Anomaly found.
the necessary administrative capacity. I'm going to leave that alone and as a preference of building out. I'm going to pause. All right, let's see what's going on. We're detecting a lonely ship orbiting a gas giant. It seems badly weathered, but is clearly still operational. We should approach it with caution. All right. So, in the system of Fedar, we have run into a cruiser that is hostile and is the lost one. Hopefully, we should have the option to escape, or else we're gonna hopefully emergency jump. I think now that our fleet has been fully upgraded, we're gonna move them out to Fatus. Actually, no, we're going to move them to Devil's Maw in order to defend ourselves. And they made our SS Explorer emergency jump again. It'd be interesting if you got, like, the coward trait. So this is our new science ship, and since the Ekplar will be back in 2 months, we're still going to move to Wiu in order to start researching in that direction. We have made first contact with the mysterious aliens in the Hyzar system. For now, we have codenamed them the Mu aliens until we can find out more about them. If they possess language, we must decipher it in order to establish communications. Look at the system. I don't see a ship or a station.
Construction complete.
And we don't have any envoys for the moment. We may want to recall one of them to find out if we have a new neighbor to the east. Right, the Dratum Star Base has finished its basic construction queue. The next piece we're going to do at the end of the month is upgrade it to a Starhold. Start adding some defenses.
Technology secured.
We're continuing our march. We should have just opened up building slots on all of our colonies. Now our naval capacity is much larger than our fleet command limit, so that first tech there seems logical, although we could fairly quickly also buff our food production by 20%. Which would maybe cut our deficit by a third or so. I think that should happen fast. 6 months. We could go ahead and do that. I'm going to build a station in Devil's Maw.
Construction complete.
We have now acquired Tistra, and we're going to capture the resources there.
Technology secured.
And have gained UV lasers. Would like to also upgrade our shields. We'll be able to upgrade our fleet once we've dealt with the cruiser.
Star system charted.
We may want to consider bringing up a station perhaps in Wii, because it's going to be difficult. This probably is a choke point, although it looks like there's an entry here. This is probably a valuable choke point, and it will also give us somewhere to go back to and repair and upgrade. We're going to buy the necessary alloys to get that going. We're lacking 1. We'll get that in a day or two. To get that upgrade going. That would be the last of our star bases. We've also hit our empire capacity again. So with some of these buildings, we're moving up to a planetary capital. In theory, that should, I think, increase our administrative capacity. We also have water reacts where we do not have administrative offices. And with really prime, we do. With really is where we get a 10% bump on alloys. So it may make the best sense to get them going on alloys if we're going to get anywhere. But I'm going to continue to focus on research and trying to extend any advantage that we already have. I'm going to move down just to see if there's any connections here, but I don't believe there are. So this will be, in theory, the border between the two empires. Our agents among our delegation to the Zelvon corporate holdings have managed to send home another cache of Zelvon technologies for our scientists to work on. The Zelvon still suspect nothing of our operations. We get another 500 research. So that choice seems to be working out well.
Construction complete.
I've taken Devil's Maw to build the stations within it to take its resources. And our fleet has almost arrived to take out the Lost One. We should also have our science ship back, and we're going to get them to survey the other remaining Charchorion anomaly. So, administrative capacity. Just completed here. Really is building research labs. Quadrax is building research labs. Quadrax 1. We have an unemployed bureaucrat on Witherly Prime to remove our enforcer. I don't know that we care as much about nobility. That should give us a bureaucrat and push us back over. So they seem to have made contact with a number of other empires due to having Cassius Belli on them. I'm going to try to get their communications again. And I'll offer them volatile motes, since they seem to enjoy them the last time. Got plenty to spare. It looks to be that the Vrinn Covenant only knows us and our corporate neighbors.
Technology secured.
We have received our food bump. Don't think we can pass up habitability improvements. We are receiving a transmission from the Bualavia Authority. They appear to have successfully translated our language. Diplomatic channels are now open and all hostilities between us have ceased for the moment. Whoa. I bring greetings from the Grand Marshal John Neal, the undisputed ruler of the Bualavia Authority. Respect our borders and keep out of our affairs, and perhaps our mighty fleets will refrain from visiting your worlds. An authoritarian military dictatorship who are also materialists. We just discovered quite a bit of the species in the galaxy. So where are these guys located? They are our neighbors to the northeast. They approached us kind of violently. I think we're going to opt for friendly. We're also receiving a transmission from the Meshben tribes. They appear to have successfully translated our language. Yada yada. Meshben are far off. They are an assembly of clans who are xenophilic, militaristic, and materialist. I represent the Meshben tribes. Our elected leader, clan speaker Shrelig, believes in peace through strength, but do not be alarmed by our military spendings. We are impressed by your species and hope you will agree to a cultural exchange. But be cooperative, because we're nice. And the Velet Trading Consortium. We're located here. Whoa. Ruthless capitalist, xenophilic, militarist, materialist. You hacked into us and now you call us friend. Bah, the Velet Trading Consortium will remain vigilant towards your kind. We all have much to gain. And then the Tycan Trading Consortium. And they also are accusing us of hacking, which is not true. We traded to talk to you. They are fanatic, spiritualist, and pacifist mushroom people, which sort of makes sense. Okay, our fleet should be nearby. We're going to take out that cruiser.
Receiving communications. Construction complete.
Zelvon Corporate Holdings took our deal, obviously. And the... what would that be? Sort of looks like an eggplant with tentacles. The Meshben tribes want to establish an embassy for future betterment of our relations. We know nothing about any of these new species. I don't believe it can hurt. Alright. So construction is completed in Dradim, which is still also
receiving communications.
Its star base. And move up to Pennick and start to fill in some of the border area in the Tyanuk expanse between ourselves and the Holy Vrinn Covenant. We also have a second construction ship that we can use potentially to fill in some of the gaps that we ignored in the effort to capture choke points, and we're going to move them to Assyria in order to take a fairly valuable production system.
Attacking enemy vessels.
So let's have a look. I don't think it's going to go well for that guy. Looks like it beat up one of our interceptor vets to a decent degree. The Charchorion cruiser has been disabled. We should prepare a boarding party to investigate.
Situation log
Our
updated.
troops. So we need a transport ship in orbit. We will get one going on with Rilly. Which reminds me, we still have a hallucinogen removal. I don't have the ability to build them there. I know we do. Just not paying attention. We're going to recruit an assault army on Withrilly to go check out the remains of that cruiser. I think we're going to continue. We're going to return to Wiu as they build the starbase for repairs and the next set of upgrades, because we should have bumped our lasers across the board to the 3rd tier and may pick up another upgrade in the near term thereafter. Several ruins have been found on Hyzar 4C in the Hyzar system. Most of the ruins are buried, and the ones that aren't have eroded so much they are barely recognizable. The ruins depict various pictures and writing, most of which is a record of their culture. There is a common theme in each of the different depictions: remember us. It seems this culture knew they were fading away. All wanted was to be remembered. It looks like no one has for 1,000,000 years. We can gain a brief bump of society research with an artifact, or we can gain a nice buff of research for 15 influence, which we have to spend and improve this system
Anomaly found.
even further. I still don't see any alien presence
Receiving
here.
communications.
We're going to go ahead and pause that. So, the deadly looking folks in the spacesuits want to establish mutual embassies with us, and they are xenophilic and have similar materialistic goals. We'll go ahead and do so. The Sprouts have decided to close their borders to us, and they, I believe, are our closest neighbor. It looks like they have one system. I don't think that you need to worry about your territory, Bubba. We essentially wiped out that cruiser. The mushrooms, who are suspicious of us and pacifistic, also want to establish mutual embassies. Alright, Devil's Maw. Did I just lose the script there? Let's see. I think I was looking at potentially these guys. No. Thought I saw an alien ship. Well, we were just in one of those systems. Ooh. Looks like our jobs moved around again. And we don't have any, because we pulled in our research labs. They took all of our bureaucrats, which is kind of a pain in the butt. And probably going to happen across the board here. can upgrade our research labs as well for 50 exotic gases and 1 upkeep of exotic gas, which will be useful, but I need some bureaucrats back. I think potentially we can relocate some of the enforcers, because we don't really need them. Vrinn. We're going to lose those shortly, but right now we need to patch up wad reacts. So I'm going to give that a shot. We're going to resettle our 2 enforcers to wad reacts prime. Just confirming time. Yep. Resettle. Wad reacts prime. We're going to send... Going to take all of our influence and 500 power, but it's going to give us back our bureaucratic jobs and get us back over our administrative capacity. Heading back for repairs. So we should have, we haven't finished. Another 30 days, we'll have an army.
Technology secured.
So now we've also improved our deflector shields. Energy production is down. It'd be useful to have the option to upgrade our energy grids to energy nexuses, or alternatively go to the 2nd level upgrade to shields. I think being where energy production right now is, that the energy nexus is a better choice.
Construction complete.
Let's have a look at, via prosperity, we can get an additional clerk job per city district. We can reduce the build speed, or reduce the build cost and increase the build speed. And we can get an additional housing from city districts. We can also always consider another... Might be useful to get expansion, only to really get the Empire sprawl, our colonies down, which is 20, and our systems, which is 28. So 48, we'd take out 25% of that. That wouldn't be a bad savings. 12. Or we continue working towards our next ascension perk. One additional clerk job, which will just give us some more trade value. And some amenities. But we don't really have nearly any of our planets maxed out on clerks already. So, it doesn't seem all that valuable to us at the moment. Building speed and housing also don't seem valuable to us. Maxing out prosperity gives us 5% bump from all jobs and a 5% stability bump. The other piece that we could do is fix our food production, because it's starting to decrease with adaptability, which also would get us access to improving the habitability of our planets. On adoption, pop housing usage goes down by 10%. That would only be about 5 food. The habitability piece would help some of our colonies improve a bit. And that would reduce some of the overhead that we have on amenities usage and upkeep and improve our output. But would also be a fair bit away. Otherwise, we are starting to get some espionage going on. We have the potential for getting into a war here shortly. Or we could buff our star bases. I feel like expansion, we still look like we have a fair amount of room for expansion besides directly to the south of us with the other Vrinn. I'm going to go ahead and adopt expansion. Kind of gets us off the path to our next ascension perk, but I believe that it may be helpful. Instead of retreating, I think we're going to go also take out these crystal so we can occupy that system. Potentially get somebody working on the archaeological site. Taking a look at why we're not really producing that much energy. We have a fair number of unfilled technology jobs. We could move a miner over, which wouldn't really hurt us, and up that just a bit, which I think is what we're going to do. Get a technician robot. And the option to upgrade our research complex. We need to let our colony expand just a bit more population-wise.
Star system charted.
Shuffle too much. So we have completed surveying Hyzar. There aren't any anomalies to check out. We're going to move further out and try to figure out who these new aliens were that we just ran into. Our spy master watching over the Holy Vrinn Covenant reports the surprise, successful acquisition of a new asset, a sympathetic contact who will be of service to our operations as and when that we need them. All efforts have been taken to ensure that this new contact is genuine. Protocols have been established which seek to minimize the risk of a potential double agent. So let's have a look at our intel is now 30 and increasing. We still don't know their fleet power. We have a bit of infiltration that we could spend to gather more information. But it will cost us 200 or 300 energy, which I don't think is really worth it right now. Then secondarily, We can look
Who
at.
does Amelia's concept handle?
We have a similar amount of espionage within the Vrinn Covenant. I think we're happy enough with it for the moment. We're going to move the colony or the construction ship over to be ready when the military clears the Kappa aliens to take that system. We may lose a ship because of how damaged it was at cruiser battle. Might be useful to just break it off and send it for repairs, but it's really probably not that significant. We finished our transport fleet, so we're going to move them over to check out the Charchorion hostile fleet cruiser and see perhaps what we may gain from that event. And then on our capital, we now have 2 building slots available. I think that our challenge with amenities could be improved. If we have some more clerks, that would be one. We can also consider adding a hollow suite. We have an energy grid, we have an alloy factory, we have our supercontinent lab. We do not have gene clinics. And I think people will help us more than anything. It'll give us 2 more medical worker jobs. Upkeep is 2 civilian goods. We're going to go with gene clinics to up our pop growth on the capital. Really have much that we require. I think potentially removing a blocker, giving us some more districts to build, would not be a terrible idea. If we don't want to build and let the population grow a bit. We only have 1 available job, but that's also because we've restricted it down. I think we can probably open up clerk jobs without moving technicians over. That gives us 3, which should keep us out of unemployment. We have 5 available districts to build on here. We have all of the baseline approaches that we wanted. I also just want to grow some pops. We don't have the technologies necessary to do any additional feature clearing. So we're going to let Wadriax stay for a little bit. So the ISS Bonplar, going to have them move out to try to figure out some of the connections here, how far they may range. We've also discovered the Yastun Omnis. Some spooky looking people. Military isolationists. We only have second-hand intel on their diplomatic packs. They are a fallen empire who is dormant. We are going to try to leave them that way. I would assume some of these other, also the Everite Watchers, who are crazy looking. The Stakashi Chroniclers are also a fallen empire. Tight Watchers. It's the Curators. The Haruni progenitors are also a fallen empire. So we have quite a few fallen empires on the map. They're all kind of creepy looking. We have a societal research option. So we buffed our fleet command limit is 50. Our overall command limit is 78. Bumping up our fleet command to try to get a doom stack going could be a good thing, but we really need population. So pop growth speed seems very desirable, which I think is the direction that we're going to go. That should be a rather quick research.
Anomaly found. Star system charted.
So we're going to go ahead and attack here. So it does look like we are closed off here to take essentially our half of the Tachyon Expanse.
Receiving communications.
Hopefully we're going to kill some
Technology secured.
crystals. Looks to be going rather well. So we have access to both droid workers and robotic assault armies. We could go with exotic gas refineries. They're starting to run low on food. None of these will help that. Either buff our lower level ships or move towards cruisers. I think cruisers are the answer. We're going to start moving our construction ship in. No. Because we're evading. I'm going to move into the system because it looks like we're slowly going to be completed. The science expedition team led by Beshna Tukor from the science vessel ISS Ekaplar has found a lone fortress on this world that appears long abandoned yet in remarkable pristine conditions. The area surrounding the fortress displays signs of heavy damage, yet the fortress seems untouched. Fascinating. It's also a terraforming candidate. We find some minor articles and get a bumpy unity and society research. Is valuable. Ignore that. Ignore that. So the Holy Vrinn Covenant is offering to form a commercial pact. Ever feel like your life is all about the have-tos and never about the want-tos, Vrinn? Here at the Holy Vrinn Covenant, we live for doing things you don't want to, so you don't have to. Enter a commercial pact with us and maximize the meaningfulness of your existence. We can form a commercial pact with the Holy Vrinn Covenant. This will increase both empires' trade networks. We will get 6 energy, and they will get 21 as long as the deal is active. That's most likely that benefit to them, but we're going to take it because I can use the extra energy at the moment. The Holy Vrinn government is offering a research agreement, and we are going to decline that because that is our advantage. We just got full intel on their empire, and it is just about what we had assumed. Research storage for minerals is full, so I think it's time to sell 5,000. Seems like the remaining crystal is likely the largest. I don't think we've lost any ships yet. That looks like it'll just take some time to conclude. Not sure if it's possible that we will run afoul . A new faction has been recently gaining traction in the internal political landscape of the Vrinn Imperium. Led by the overlord Tona Natukin, they call themselves the Xeno Freedom Organization. Their members have been pushing hard for friendly relations with alien species. Well, we're being pretty friendly. See if our construction ship sneaks by. We'll build a outpost there as soon as the fleet is dispatched. Starting to expand towards the center ring a bit more. We're out of influence, so we're going to hold building until we've recovered some. We'll have to decide what's the most valuable, which is Assyria for certain. And it's going to take about 5-6 months to have the influence necessary to build there. All of our science ships are otherwise occupied. The transport fleet is almost ready to address the cruiser. And then we'll research the last Chororian system there. So we finished our star base. In order to repair post the nearby fleet, we're going to set up a shipyard and a crew quarters. There's no real trade value exposed as of yet, so we'll hold on the third option. We may want to make it military if we start to determine that there's anything that is occupying the systems outside of here. We may lose a destroyer, it looks like. It's going to be close. Ah, victory. I don't believe we lost a ship. So, in that sense, it should be time to retreat to Wiu, which will provide us with repairs. And we have some debris that we can research, along with an underwater facility, which we'll swing around to when we need. Make sure our Transport vessel boards and
Star system charted.
researches the cruiser. So COM is a fairly unexciting system on the edges of our it's kind of a cool one. So we have discovered another nearby neighbor, which means that we want to try to determine where to cut them off in relation to us. And we likely don't want to spend our influence internally, but rather should try to secure what we can in the surrounding systems. It's going to be a long haul.
Anomaly found.
The Dronum Starbase has completed upgrading, I think, for neighborly relations. We are going to add a gun, a missile battery. Also going to add ourselves a targeting computer.
Special project complete.
This would be at the cruiser location. As our forces boarded the ship, they were greeted with a gruesome sight. There were bodies of multiple species, some of them even our own. Although they plainly should have been dead, they were stumbling around and attempted to defend the ship. It appears that they are still propelled by an extensive neural implanting that kept them going even after death. Fighting all the way through, our boarding party made their way to the ship's bridge. Some data from the flight computers was still usable. It indicated that the ship's faster-than-light technology had experienced major problems, similar to those we eliminated before we even left our home system. Tampering with ship systems appeared to have triggered some kind of self-destruction sequence, causing the ship to vaporize moments after our boarding crew returned. And we get a site investigated and a big bump of society research. I'm going to return this army to Vrinn. And we are starting to run up against the bottom of our food reserve. I don't believe we have any particular colony well suited to food production. Nor do we have an overflow of workers. I think we'll just have to be satisfied with buying some food. I think here at about the 2-hour mark is a decent cutoff point. We have expanded the Vrinn Imperium, and through diplomatic relations with the Zelvon corporate holdings, have discovered quite a few of our nearby neighbors in this play. We are managing to keep our economy mostly above water. Our basic central system of colonies growing, and we've been able to secure some border systems between ourselves and other empires, although we have just discovered a new neighbor and we need to figure out the best way to do the same with them. But overall, things are still progressing well for the Vrinn. We are almost finished with a Checherian event chain in Helion. But other than that, we are at a break point here where we're going to delay to the next stream. So if you have been, thanks for watching. If you watch this in the future, thanks for watching it then. And that will be all. Have a good one.